Hi everyone. So usually on my channel I like to keep things pretty light and fun, but this week, and actually every week this month, I want to talk about something that doesn't get a whole lot of attention, and I think it deserves a little more attention than what it gets. This month, the month of October, is Pregnancy Loss and Child Loss Awareness Month. I think it's important that we talk about this because a lot of women who go through these things actually don't talk about it. They tend to feel shame or they just feel too sad. So what I thought I'd do today is share my story, because so far I haven't done that yet either. And in the upcoming weeks, as we go through October, I'd like to talk a little bit about some things that I've learned on my journey. And hopefully what I'd like to do is inform some of you guys and maybe help some of you too, if you've been down the same path I've been down. So if you want to hang out with me a little bit today, I'll go ahead and get started with my story. So my husband and I knew immediately that we wanted to have kids. And the only hurdle that we knew was in our way was that he had had a vasectomy many years ago. So we knew we were going to have to get a vasectomy reversal. And it was great. The doctor said, hey, listen, you could be fertile next month, but it's pretty unlikely. You can expect it to take up to a year to even begin having any success. So we were prepared for that, but we were hopeful and we were prayerful and we were just really excited to get the journey started. We were really surprised to learn the very next month that we were pregnant. And we were just so excited. You can't imagine what it's like going to your follow-up appointment for a vasectomy reversal and saying, surprise, we're pregnant. Way to go, you did great. So it was awesome. I immediately called my midwife, who had been helping us on our prenatal kind of journey. So she already knew us, she knew what our plan was, and I let her know that we were pregnant. Finally, we were so happy. She said, great, I want to caution you maybe not to share the news yet. Let's wait until we have it confirmed. Just kind of keep it to yourself until we see you at your 8th week appointment. So I went 8 weeks, actually it was 9 weeks because they couldn't see us on the 8th week. So 9 weeks of being so excited about pregnancy and feeling like I'm not supposed to tell anyone. So of course what ended up happening is we told everyone. We told my parents, we told his parents, we told some of our closest friends, because we wanted everyone to be excited for us. We'd had people praying for us about this, so it was a pretty big deal to us and we didn't want to keep it a secret. It was my 9th week of the pregnancy when I finally got to go see my midwife for the first time in the clinic. And she pulled out a Doppler and she said, all right, we're going to try to hear the heartbeat today. It's hard at this point to catch the heartbeat, so we may or may not see it today. Don't worry if we don't. And bless her heart, I think she tried for 10 or 15 minutes to find the heartbeat, but at the end of it she said, I'm really sorry, I couldn't find one today. I think she could see the look on my face. I was already starting to kind of tear up, and she said, listen, it's nothing to worry about. This is pretty normal. But if you're that upset, I can call the OB and see if maybe I can get him to work you in tomorrow for an ultrasound. So I said, yeah, that's great. Let's do that, because I'm not going to sleep well tonight. The next morning, we got up and we went to our ultrasound appointment. Immediately on the screen, there was this perfect little bean. And my husband and I, we held hands and we started crying and we were so happy. But then we noticed the demeanor of the tech didn't seem to match what we thought, what it should be like for this great news. And the longer that I stared at the baby on the screen, the more I started to think maybe something wasn't right. There was no movement at all, and I wasn't really sure if there was supposed to be any movement, but I was pretty sure you would at least see a flicker of a heartbeat or something, but there was nothing. And as she went on, I kind of started getting a little uncomfortable, so I said to her, hey, is something wrong? And she looked at me with this just bizarre smile, and she said, not that I can tell. And I remember at that moment thinking how forced that seemed, that it just didn't seem like a natural smile. But I was trying to have faith and I was trying to to hold on to hope. So I thought, well, she said there's nothing wrong, evidently, so everything should be fine. And after a few minutes, she kind of somberly took the wand off of my belly and wiped it down, and she said, excuse me, I need to go grab the doctor. Now, I had seen enough movies to know that if they have to call the doctor in, it's probably not a good sign. So as soon as she left the room, my husband and I, we started crying and holding hands and praying, and just really hoping that maybe this was all a big nightmare and we were going to wake up and it was all going to be over. But a few minutes later, the doctor came in, and I mean, all I had to do was look at his face and I knew that it was not good news. So he walked over and he grabbed a box of tissues and he handed it to me, and he didn't really say anything except, "I'm so sorry." And he like stood there for a little while with us, and we cried and we wept. It's way deeper than crying. What we found out later was that I had what's called a missed miscarriage. So what that means is your body stops developing the baby, but like your brain doesn't really get the message, and so your body kind of keeps going on thinking that it's pregnant. So I had lost the baby at 7 weeks, and I didn't find out until 9 weeks. So that was 2 weeks that, looking back, were just pure hell, because they were weeks of joy thinking that this new baby was coming. I was thinking about names, I was thinking about nursery colors and what kind of diaper bag I wanted, just anything that you'd be thinking of when you're pregnant. And those 2 weeks were a lie. My body lied to me. And it took us a really long time to get through that. And it took us even longer to reach a point where we could smile again and be happy and be okay, and be willing to admit that we were happy and okay. Because as I'll talk about in the upcoming weeks, one of the things that happens when you have a miscarriage is you feel like you're not allowed to be joyful anymore. I will close this video by saying that life did turn out okay, and wounds did heal, but it took a lot of time. I won't lie about that part of it. So that's essentially the beginning of my story, and I say the beginning because learning about your miscarriage is really just the beginning of the whole process. That's not the end, that's where it starts, and from that moment on you have to go through the grief and the anger and all the things that happen after that. And eventually you get into trying to conceive again and all those things that you don't even want to think about right after your miscarriage. So that's my story. I hope that maybe by sharing mine it will encourage some of you to share your story as well. I bet there are other women out there who are like me who haven't wanted to talk about what happened to them. So if there's anyone out there who wants to share their story, I'd love for you to maybe write it out in the comments below, or just even give me a "I hear ya, I've been there." That would be great. In the upcoming weeks, I'm going to talk about what research says about miscarriage, the emotions of it, the process of grief that accompanies it. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about how to deal with knowing someone who's been through a miscarriage. I participate in lots of forums on this topic, and one question that I always see coming up is, how do I talk to a friend who has had a miscarriage? Or even more challenging, I'm pregnant and my friend has lost a baby. How do I talk about this with her? So I'm going to go over some of those things in the upcoming weeks. I hope you'll give me the honor of spending some time with me and just chatting it out, because I think that we should pay some respect to this topic during the month of October, which is Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month. Bye, I'll see you next week.